Good morning, everyone, and welcome to droidcon. My name is Mikhail. I'm CTO and co-founder of Lysel. And firstly, we're proud to be 4 times in a row the gold sponsor for droidcon of such vibrant event. And it's my second talk here. And my talk today will be around what is digital identity, how we can create and secure user data and new personal data in digital mobile application. And of course, we'll talk about most popular topic today, how we can apply the digital ID credentials to AI agents. Let's start as from our moment of our foundation, we always try to create products for developers that allow developers to create mobile applications secure for them and secure for users. And our first open source product, GCard SIM, is standard de facto for creating, developing, and prototyping, testing mobile trusted applications for Java card platform, and our flagship products, Dex Protector and Lights LVT, targeted to protect whole mobile security channel solution. I hope today you already have some famous British tea and coffee and a little bit warm up our brains and memory. Who can guess or talk me what this gadget from which movie is about? Any guess? You can see also this multipass. Absolutely right. So yes, this multipass from sci-fi movie, which filmed in 1997. So it's like 30 years from this movie was released, but concept of mobile digital ID and digital ID, it's still here in the progress. So if you remember the plot of this movie, so Corbin and Lilu, they used this multipass boarding Starship, right? So let's try and look a little bit in details which information it's placed in this multipass, right? So first, as many our physical ID, we see the photography, we see the primary identity data like person name, surname, and etc. We could find the date of birth, we can find the address, and also very interesting details about health status. I guess all of us, we remember this like 3 or 4 years ago when we need to use our QR codes with COVID vaccination status and COVID status to travel around the world. So you need to show QR codes everywhere. So maybe I could name this time when like kind of digital ID start to be implemented in the mass production. So you can't really travel without information, without proof information of your health status. Also, this multipass contains information about driving license, as you see the payment system, and etc. So if we talk about the current situation of rollout of mobile digital application, digital ID credentials, I think it's not any existing application which now implement all these functions, right? Some applications, like a mobile driving license, hold some information about your personal data and etc. Some application like e-passport could also contain some data, but now you can't use any digital mobile application with all this functionality. And it's question also for you guys, have you ever used any mobile digital ID application in your life? Okay, great. Which type of mobile application?
The one for COVID in Italy that basically kept your information about vaccination
Okay. Thank you for this great answer. And you always can come to our booth, and I have some 3D printed with multipass. You can use in upcoming Halloween. So this data in multipass that we used in this sci-fi movie, it's like now it's some take ground as technical standards, and it's interesting that international organizations that develop this standard, it's a CAO. So it's International Common Aviation Organization, or Civil Aviation Organization, right? And all these data which present in multipass, they has some standard specification. And here, guys, I want to take you attention that for different type of data, like photo, like name, date of birth, etc., there are different groups in this standard. So data categorized by level of privacy. For example, I'm happy to share it to everyone, my name, my surname, because I'm speaker now, and you see my this data on my slides. I'm not sure that I'm happy to share to date of my birth to everyone, and of course I'm not super happy to share my address and other data. So to protect privacy of this data, the developing some different groups, which depends on groups, which data could be classified. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, right? And of course, if we talk about our viral state and information about vaccination, about your current health status, this information is also put in standards, some ISO standards that regulate which your health data could be stored and used in digital ID documents. Okay, let's start to talk about digital ID mobile application, how we can develop, which security risk we need to take in account when we will develop this application, etc. So I hope some of us will develop some kind of mobile digital application in the future, but maybe someone already developing or developed some digital ID application. Okay, so I think this case it will be very interesting to you if you guys start to think about this. So if we talk about digital ID app, what's the main functionality these apps must be implemented, right? First is enrollment. What does enrollment process means? So for example, when you download any application from Google Play or another app store, first it's like blank application. This application doesn't contain your personal data, doesn't contain any information about you. And to enroll your data and to just allow you to use this application, digital application, in different scenarios, first you need to authenticate yourself, right? For this, you can use different technologies, right? You can, if some regulation of some country allows, you can use your face scan, digital face scan. You can use, for example, your e-passport or like some internal resident permit card to use NFC reader and authenticate yourself via this card. And some interesting countries like France, they, for some reason, they not allow you use your face to authentication for some privacy reasons. And when you receive your resident permit, you also receive, or your digital physical ID card, you also receive some PIN code, which can be used to enroll yourself to this application, right? First process of enrollment. And of course, if we talk about security on this process, we need to be sure that application user are secure from some attacks, which like camera injection and etc. This attacks is always it's now super popular for mobile banking application when user use some modification of Android API or some hardware modification, just replace some stream generated by AI and to create a fake video and can steal your identity or you steal your banking data. Second, so first we enroll all data inside this digital ID application. Now we need to use this, right? How we can use this digital ID apps. First, it's like presentation or verification. For example, you need to board aircraft to travel to droidcon from France, right? And you can use this, your mobile application, and on the border control point, you just need to show QR code generated in this application, or like you tap this application to border control NFC terminal, and you will be authenticated, and you don't need to use your physical passport and etc. Right? And the most important functionality for digital ID apps, which makes this more popular and more interesting for users, is using these digital IDs for transaction or perform some signing. For example, you have on your phone two applications, with mobile digital application and mobile banking application. Usually to start to be user of any mobile banking, you need to provide some, open this mobile application, provide some personal data, and etc., fill a big questionnaire, and after that you can use this application in practice. But could you imagine how it will be great for user if a user has a mobile digital ID application installed on device, he don't need to provide any data. He just need to open your mobile banking application, select option login or sign in via digital ID, and it's all. All necessary information will be passed to bank, and it will be signed by your digital signature, and it's all. So you don't need to enter this field, and this information could be interpreted by bank as more trusted information. It not require such big complex verification in case when you enter this application by yourself. And of course, in this process, we also need to think about security. We need to understand that data which we share it to bank servers and bank backend must be encrypted and secured in the transit, and etc. So these three basic and main operation of digital ID, and they must properly secure, right? And for secure application, it's usual to develop any applications that you work with user personal data or some sensitive data. We need to use security by design principles. So we need to, as I mentioned before, we need to establish the trust chain during the enrollment process. We need to, if our application will use cryptographic keys to sign some documents, we must to implement non-exportable keys. We need to implement some device binding functionality to not allow any attacker. For example, root for Android devices is like a standard, one of the most features that users use in practice, and here we just need to balance between user experience, because it's user device, right? And you absolutely can disable user to root device and, for example, to upgrade operation system to a most secure version, right? But in other hand, we need to make that keys and personal data which stored on this device must be non-extractable. For example, attacker can't extract your personal data and your private keys and perform some operation as from you. And to implement these principles, it's I don't know, these technologies is already in place. You can use some liveness check to identify that camera and the video stream is come from a real camera or not. You can use hardware bucket storage. Of course, you need to check the device integrity and runtime checks and use some cryptographic proofs plus attestation to implement this secure principle. And for Android ecosystem, we have all these components in place. We have a hardware bucket case implemented with Android hardware key storage. We have a secure execution environment implemented by secure elements, eSIMs or with lights LVT. You can use RASP and integrity checks to verify the device integrity and application integrity. And of course, threat telemetry is very important in this situation to able on backend to identify some fraud attacks that can be prevented in early stages. Okay, the next question for you guys: who have ever used Android hardware bucket key store in your apps? Fantastic. And how you use this hardware bucket key store, for which reasons? Okay, thank you. So yes, usually we use Android hardware bucket key store to store some cryptographic keys, like symmetric cryptographic keys or asymmetric cryptographic keys, and Android ecosystem and vendors, phone vendors, lock us to this limited functionality, right? So we can use only this hardware bucket key store to perform some cryptographic operations and store and believe that our cryptographic keys will secure store it in trust execution environment inside Android, right? And there are some talks from Android, especially from Google Wallet guys, that they plan to extend functionality of their trust execution environment in the future to potentially allow to use more operation, but it's still talks, right? And I want to stop here a little bit, maybe only for 5 minutes, maybe less, to talk about trust execution environment. So if you will be interested after my talk about concept of trust execution, how trust application works, and etc., please look to my previous talk video. It's published on droidcon 2024, and let's go quickly through this concept, right? So we need idea of trust. It's about main idea. It's about isolation and integrity, right? So you need to try to create some isolated, secure world. It could be inside a mobile device. It could be ideally it's inside a mobile application. And inside this trusted world, you can be sure that operation will be performed in isolation with confidentiality, so no any data will be leaked from our application or from this trusted execution environment, from trusted application, and no any application can influence to you mobile application trying to extract this data and prevent some extraction data attacks. You can be sure about integrity, secure execution, and controlled access. So trust execution environment is a way how we can create applications that will work with user personal data and with private keys in a secure way. And as I mentioned, there are different implementation of trust execution environment. One of this application is based on eSIM. I think everybody, maybe 19% of you guys has eSIM on your phones. Wow. So you all of you have physical SIMs? Wow. Okay, maybe it's if I ask this question on some conference for iOS ecosystem, it will be more bigger results, because eSIM is I guess standard de facto for iPhones in the last few years. But I highly recommend to try eSIM if your phone it's equipped. It's very easy to travel around countries, and you don't need to pay extra charges for any roaming. Okay, it could be eSIM, it could be special chip that embedded on the motherboard of this phone, or it could be VTE. VTE, it's alternative, right? It's alternative of a trust execution environment that maintains the same level of security and privacy for trust application inside mobile application. It's implemented in such way. So as a trust execution environment, as secure elements or eSIMs, it's part of your mobile phone, and virtual trust execution environment, it's usually part of, and not usually, it's de facto part of your mobile application, and they embed this element of trust inside your app, and you can use some already existing applications, trust application to in these environments, or you can develop your own applications. And with VTs, we got a cross-platform compatibility, allow this trust execution environments run on whole range of Android device, for example, from Android 9 and up, and it's very easy to update and maintain. Okay, you can ask Mikhail, why your talk is about digital ID, mobile digital ID application, why we're talking about trust execution environment, virtual trust execution environment, and what's the real application for digital ID scene. First, it's a great open source project that's named GMRTD. It's a project with implementation of real ICAO document. It's ICAO applet, trust application that runs in UE passport. And I guess all of who travel, who is not from UK, all of you has e-passport, right? So do you have any, if your passport contains some chip and sign e-passport, right? Yes, so it means inside the front page of your passport, it's embedded a special security chip, which runs usually under Java card operation system, and contains a special trust application that in charge to first to secure store all your personal data and allow access to them according necessary access level. Second, it could perform some cryptographic operation to sign in, etc. So when you put your e-passport on terminal and board control, it's first scan the physical machine-readable text, and second is try to scan the data from NFC chip on this passport, right? And as I mentioned, ICAO standard develop a lot, not only standard how to store and how to classify data inside electronic documents. It's also design protocols how to secure communicate with you from your mobile application or from the special terminal software to trust application inside chip. And let's see how it's work in practice. So here it's a code, the code of Java card applet inside e-passport, for example, and oh, sorry, it's a host site. So yeah, here is the code of a trust application inside applet, which process PDU commands come from mobile application, for example, and we see if we like a simple web server, right? If we see some command, we perform some implementation logic, and in this slide we see how we can communicate to this applet using standard Java code and NFC interface. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in this area, to look into this GMRTD project. And you say, Mikhail, we probably never will develop digital ID application because it's most related to the government, and most of us maybe from some private company who develop some games application, some maybe mobile banking application, or maybe some, I don't know which kind of application could be now, a game, mobile. what's if someone of you develop some mobile application, which kind of mobile games? Any ideas? No. Okay, so it could be like a health application and some application which works with some kind of like telemetry service, like a ring application, etc. And all of this application, it's some areas required that you need to prove your identity, right? And if we not will develop a digital ID application where you 100% in the future will develop some kind of interface to communicate with digital ID application, right? Because, for example, the latest law in UK, you need to prove your age when you use any game application on your mobile device or even just on your computer or through the browser. And the question of this age checking is very difficult and it's very require a big compliance check on the your backend side, right? And it will be ideal, right? If you need to implement this age functionality feature, you just can ask existing digital ID application, for example, electronic mobile driver license, which contains your age, and ask this application, like, can you say me if this user has age over 21, right, for example. And or if you develop some mobile banking application, it's quite logical to able to verify some signature from documents that coming from bank, or make some signature of documents which we send to bank, right? So, and there are standards which use it to develop and to communicate with digital ID apps. So first is with VW3 digital credentials. It's implemented in Google Wallet, and you can use Android Credential Manager to work with this type of verification. Do you guys have any experience to communicate with Google Wallet in API level, or you just use usually Google Wallet to make transactions normal users? No? So no anybody has experience to work with Google Wallet? Okay. I will talk a little bit more details about this later. So for signed documents, you can use ETSI standards and some protocol. For example, online functionality for online signing documents and implemented in EU digital wallet. And for some variants, you can use need to communicate with digital ID applications using some real NFC reader. For example, when some traffic control officer want to check your ability and permission to drive some kind of vehicle, you can use it for verification. Okay, maybe this example will be like raise your interest. So here it's how we can use Google Credential API to verify age. The very important things here that, as I mentioned in the beginning, we need to care about user privacy, right? And in this, when we create this JSON request to check user credentials, we don't ask like full information about user. We don't ask his address. We only ask name of user and is his age over 21, right? And when this request will executed by Android Credential Manager system, you will see on your screen information, mobile banking application request Google Wallet to share this information to some purposes. Do you agree with this or not? And the user can just understand which data he can share in if he won't share this information. So this is a very great example how we can communicate with digital ID application, for example, for Google Wallet. And of course, the main, not main topic of this talk, but very interesting topic about digital AI, digital ID, and how to use this for artificial intelligence. Okay, I think maybe I just asked too many questions to you, but I promise this will be my, not last one, but one of the last questions. Who can guess what the movie, from which movie this picture? iRobot, yeah. And it's very funny because the plot of this movie in action happens in 2035. So it's like a small hook to my presentation title. So how we can work with topic of digital ID for AI, right? My last question, finally my last question to you, who have any idea the name of this gentleman? Huh? Caesar, right. It's Julius Caesar. And in this, why I choose this example? Because it could show us how we people, humans, use some kind of identity in our real life, right? So we usually recognize ourselves by name in some official situation, by our surname, etc., right? And I don't know why developers so obsessed with Roman Empire history and etc. But here it's a great example about how we can classify our human identity, right? So Gallius is a personal name. So, for example, only like closest friends or friends of Caesar can name his Gallius, right? Julius is his clan. So in Latin terminology, it's a nomen. So this is from which part of which permission or how, what's usually this type of people, which kind of work they do, right? And third is his family branch, like cognomen that names his identification to some group of people based on some relationship feature. Okay, so for me it's quite a nice classification of our human identity, and it's quite logical. Let's try to play how we can use this as AI name. Usually, when in our developer practice, when we need to name some machine, or for example, some database service or something related to digital, we use some IDs, right? We use some long digital ID which can be identify any object. For example, IPv6 protocol can be used to identify all atoms on our planet and more. So, but for my opinion, such type of unique ID will work great for any artificial intelligence agent, right? So maybe we can use such example from the Roman history, and if, for example, inside our company in future will develop some AI who help you to protect mobile application, we can use name. We can use as clan or Lysel, so we created this AI. We can use authority, which kind of actions which AI could be performed is cybersec, it's like a family. And for use some characterize this AI as with unique name, we can use some cryptographic proof which contains information of integrity, information about hardware, where this agent run, and etc. So for me, it's a very interesting proof and concept to use for AI identity, and let's see how it will be future. But if we look to some sci-fi movies and etc., sometimes, and even in this iRobot movie, the name of this agent was Sonna, as I remember. It's not provide to us anything information about this AI agent. But if we will use such type of classification, for us it will be more identifiable and verifiable information. And so what we can use to technologies now to build these agent names for proof of provenance. We can use code signing. We know these technologies, and for example, all your mobile applications signed by your development keys. We can use software security chain proof. We can use trusted registries. For verify authority, we can use witness credentials, which I mentioned before. And for character, we can use hardware, software attestation. So the little takeaways about from this talk. First, it's we moving and we live in the digital world, and our digital identity sooner or sooner will be in our mobile phones, or will be fully stored in the clouds. VTE, concept of VTE, it provides us ability to create secure application which work with user personal data and cryptographic keys on device. There are some standards in the fields, and some standards will be developed, and I guess it's great time for QA. And here I just decided a little bit make experiment, and I asked it ChatGPT 5 about if you were an agent, what will be your digital ID look like. So first, ChatGPT care about storage of the privacy. He wants storage this data in some kind of trust execution environment. It's also aligned with our today talk. Is if you were an agent, it's a structure of my identity. So in this answer, ChatGPT suggested to use some documents and etc. But I don't fully agree with this answer. Represent of verification. We also talk about in this talk about this some standards, offline verification scenario, and ethical layer. It's interesting opinion, and as I always say, please verify all answers for any like AI agent in practice to understand is it true or not. This is resources from my article, and I hope you not suffered a lot after my talk. And if you want to pick nice t-shirts with some developers titles and text and our power bank, I hope they still in our booth. Or also, I have 10 of these multi-passes, so you can also grab from our booth. So questions for humans, and if also you're very welcome to our booth. Thank you very much.